All right, Lions fans, let's talk Lions. Of course, we're going to talk about the trade, Matthew Stafford, and my overall assessment of not with just the trade, but what they should do in this I guess this upcoming off or the continuance of this off season. Well, first of all, with the trade, I think it's a 50-50 win. You know what I mean by 50-50? I think both sides. Actually, I don't think nobody lose on this side, and I believe the Rams got what they needed to get in a quarterback to get them back to where they wanted to get. They wanted to be competing for a Super Bowl for a couple years ago. Uh, a few years back, they was in the Super Bowl, so they want to get back to that atmosphere, which is great. They get a guy who can get them there. I don't know how much he can get them over the hump or whatnot, but he can get them there. It's a good deal for Matthew Stafford from this perspective. The type of quarterback that I believe that Matthew Stafford is made for a team that's already ready made. He's a guy that if you have a veteran group that's already ready, the organization is already ready. I think he's a guy that can sell you. I mean that can uh, sit on the sail and coast, and he could just float with him. In terms of rebuilding with him, I don't know about that. I guess you can because the Lions did, but they didn't do it. What the Rams did is what the Lions could have done, and maybe, of course, for the Lions fans, they wish they would have. In terms of building a team around the Stafford. So this is where I think where Jared Goff is probably going to be equally as beneficial to the Lions organization. Because I think he's coming to a team that doesn't require that much pressure. You know, as much as I don't know. I get or I could look at it this way: if this team does have expectation on them, I think it'd be more fitting to the deal versus being in LA. LA in every sport out there, is like championship or bust. So here is there's no use to winning. So it's kind of like a little breeze off of him. He could breathe a little bit. And one thing I would say to give him credit, and credibility goes to him, is that he have had success. I believe he's gotten better, and in each years, and then he has some bad years. You could say the same for Stafford. As much as people would give credit for Stafford being, I guess more so plus than over minus, but Stafford could equally cancel himself out. So I think it's like the same player is going to this. It's like the player that's needed is going to the right team. It's like we needed to get a younger quarterback, and we needed to get draft capital, and we need to see. It's like if we were to draft a rookie, we need to see what we're going to get in this rookie out of good 2 years. So it's almost equivalent to us getting a rookie, even though even though we're paying a hefty the price tag, but it's equivalent to getting a rookie here, so to speak. He's just an older vet. So, but with Stafford, they're getting the guy that they needed to get. They getting the guy that Indianapolis needed to get, unless they make a play for Aaron Rodgers or something like that, or San Francisco needed to get that guy. Denver needed to get that type of guy. They need to get it on Matthew Stafford, but none of those other teams, I believe, wasn't willing to give up first round picks. And it's an overall win deal because I believe Stafford gets a chance to go somewhere where not just in contention, but a team that's ready for him. So he's going to warm weather where him and his wife can actually finally relax a little bit after what his wife and everything been through. It's a good deal. Now, if the only problem that I will have with this deal, if Jared Goff have the same issue that Stafford has, which is that he can't handle the pressure. Now, Stafford's a guy that you could beat him up, he get back up. He keeps ticking. That's the advantage I give him over majority of the league the majority of the quarterbacks in the league. So, but in terms of everything else, him being that guy to get them over the hump and put the team on his back, and we're gonna win off of me. I don't think he's that guy. So Jared Goff may have won the way that when Jared Goff was winning in L.A. and he was going to Pro Bowls and so forth and going to the Super Bowl, they played the style of play what I was requesting for the Lions to play for the past 2 years. Take the ball out of his hand, run the ball, made the game manageable. In other words, Jared Goff is like a Troy Aikman. And Matthew Stafford is more like a John Elway. This is before John Elway got the running game, and Bobby Humphrey as well as Terrell Davis. So Matthew Stafford never had the running game per se because we never had the piece to get it established. But what I'm saying with this trade is a good deal. Because it's like a 2 to maybe possibly 3 year rental for a quarterback, which is about enough time to establish a rookie. I mean, to not establish a rookie, to see what you have in the rookie, to see if you can go ahead and build a franchise with him. So take that in consideration with the sitting at the 7th pick in the draft. You don't really know what you're going to get at the 7th, who's going to fall. And if so, if you're going to get the best guy on the board at the quarterback position, if that's going to be one of your big needs. So what I suggest that they do is go ahead and sign Kenny Golladay. Now, if he's probably going to look for 15 million plus. So if he's talking like 19 million, then I'm like, no, pass on it. The reason why I say go get him, him, TJ Hawkinson, and DeAndre Swift, along with Ragnow, is going to take the edge off of Roth. Not to mention Mark Brunell, as well as offensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator. I think his name is Anthony Lynn. I think they're going to, by the general manager knowing a lot about Goff, and I imagine that the head coach and everybody was all in on this to that degree, how to make this a good, how to have a plan to make this a good, suitable situation for him, that he don't have to handle a lot of pressure. And then by the staff that accumulated in the front office and in the coaching staff and so forth, this is a good situation for Jared Goff. And of course, it's a single swim. The same thing is, you can say the same deal for Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is getting all the bells and whistles out there. So you're getting a good coordinator. He's getting a good coordinator, head coach, and you're getting a good defense. You're getting a good offense, and so everything that the Lions fans wanted Stafford to have here, he's getting there. So this is going to be that sink or swim deal. Everything that you would want for Jared Goff to have, he's getting it here with Detroit. The opportunity to prove himself and so forth, to rejuvenate and everything else. So it's sink or swim type of deal for him too as well. So I believe with that 7th overall pick, I wouldn't take a quarterback. I'm going offensive line. As much as the defense is considered atrocious, and I will go offensive line first. If I have to add something to go get the best lineman in the draft, I'm taking it. I was thinking about going into the offseason if they can make a run at someone like Quentin Nelson and with the Colts. But then there's a few guards that's coming out in this free agency. Tunney from New England, as well as I can't think of his name, from Washington. The guard coming from Washington. I can't think of his name, but he's a guy that you can get. It depends on how you want to do it. The first thing since you got your quarterback, the best thing they need to do is shore up that offensive line. I don't believe that defense is as bad as much as it was. It wasn't simplistic. It was just, I don't think the players wanted to play anymore. So if you give them a reason to play, I believe that team could come together. Trey Flowers, I still believe, is your anchor on that defensive line, and you build off of his level. You get players on his level, or the players that's going to complement, or players that's going to be better than him. You don't got to cut him because for two reasons. You don't cut him because in fact it's going to be a huge uh, cap hit with dead cap, and as well as that you can actually build off of him. So my saying is, okay, they got two draft picks. It's not this year. They got two first rounds. I don't believe it's this year's 2022 and 2023. So they don't have one. All right. Well, if they can make another move, that's great. The guy that I would love for them to go get is either two. They're two linebackers that I'm looking at. With the seven, I'm going offensive line. And with the seventh overall pick, I'm going offensive line. And if they can get back into the first and somehow they can make a move, I want the guy Zavon Collins from Tulsa. I want that guy. So, and if you cut these four players, I believe by them trading Matthew Stafford, I don't know if how that cancels out with the Goff contract. I think they pretty much cancel each other out. So I don't know if there's much of a saving on the cap for trading Stafford when you're taking in the contract. I think it's about equivalent to Stafford's was. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the numbers go. But if four guys they can cut, Chase Daniels, who was the other three? Danny Shelton, Trufant, and there's one more. I can't think of his name, but you cut those three, and there's one more player that I'm missing. That of course you could cut the Christian Jones and so forth, but they're not really much of a significant difference in the cap, much as probably like a few hundred thousand, but not much. But there's one more player, it's Chase Daniels. Uh, um, wow, I'm drawing a blank. Really, Chase Daniels, Danny Shelton, Trufant, and there's one more player that they can cut, and they'll be saving. Like I said, I don't know what the plus and minus is between the trade of Stafford and Goff. I don't know how that balance out. But when I was talking about trading Stafford without taking Goff in return, I think it was going to get saved like 34 million against the cap, something like that, along with 11 that they already have. So they was going to go into the draft. Go into the offseason with a. I don't know if this was the 34 million was included with 11 million was included to the 34. I'm not sure, but this one going into the offseason with a nice little chunk of change in comparison to everybody else, especially when the salary cap is going to go down than it was the previous year. So, and they may do well. Kenny Golladay may not be able to get that lucrative, but there's a team that will take him. It depends what his criteria is. If he wants to he would like to have a nice contract as well as to win. I don't know how many teams is on that is in a position of that. So, but we'll see if they get Kenny Golladay back for a good reasonable price, which I don't think so. I think he's gonna want north of 15 million per year. So you probably talking about 20 plus, and there's a team that probably will give it to him. So let them have it. They do what they can elsewhere. I could believe they can get some veteran guys. By Dan Campbell Harris talked with those in New Orleans. Anthony Lynn Harris talked with people in San Diego. And different other coaches that they have with different other systems. They have been in contact with a few people, so they could bring different players in. And never know how it works. They may have to backload a lot of contracts where they can save more, have more money to go spend. So by the time Jared Goff his contract is up, a lot of these players are just getting ready to kick into their actual part of the contract. So I think Jared Goff's contract is front loaded and not back loaded, if I'm not mistaken. And so it would cancel, it would work itself out in that way. But 7 overall pick, build up the offensive line, so I got have a run game that would help out Jared Goff's development, his further development. Remember, he's a guy who won in the playoffs. He's a guy who went to the Super Bowl. That's something that the Lions have never had as a head coach. I mean, not a head coach, as a quarterback. They never had a guy that not just went to the win a playoff game, but actually go to the Super Bowl. I don't believe they ever did. No. Dante Culpepper, John Kitna, Garcia. No. Everybody else, no. No. So there you have it. So that's my take on that. And yeah, we're going to see how it works out. All right, Lion fans, I salute. Oh, by the way, the more that I look at this team, as much as I wanted the Patricia era it to be where this team is at right now, the Quinn Patricia era is exactly where I wanted. The way this how this team is forming out is how I wanted it to be up under Quinn and Patricia. Now, there's a different owner, different plans, different is everything different. I get it. But what they're doing now is what I wanted Patricia and them to do it then. And it's shaping out to be like that the 90s Giants team, uh, as well as the 90s Cowboys team. It's shaping out in that regard. That I don't think the general manager is done willing to dealing with some more draft picks. I think he still have a few players or a player or so that he can probably get something back in return. We'll see. We'll see what he's going to do. Uh, yeah, and that defense, I actually believe that they can go ahead and I believe they're gonna get some veterans here. My three veterans is was Patrick Peterson, Von Miller, and Ndamukong Suh. Now you may not get Ndamukong Suh, you can probably get J.J. Watt. Now you're talking about people will say, well, they're old and everything else. I need leadership. I need winners. I need winners in my organization because my drafting is going to be the young talent. I'm going to ride the young talent, but my veterans are going to get me over the hump. They need to establish not just an identity, they need to establish like, I guess, dependability in each group. They need to find some stability. They haven't had. I don't think this team have ever had stability. The closest they came was maybe when it was 11-5 with Ndamukong Suh in them, and they would start to establish something, but then it fell apart. But they can start developing something with these veteran guys. I don't do what they normally would do, will overpay veterans and so forth, but you can go ahead and bring something in here. Those are my three guys that I would like to have here. Patrick Peterson, Ndamukong Suh, and Von Miller, if they can possibly swing it. But now we got a coaching staff or offensive coordinator, former coaching with San Diego. You got Dan Campbell with his ties with the Saints, and you have the general manager has ties with the Rams. And you got different affiliations. You even have the defensive coordinator now, Aaron Glenn, has his ties with where he was from. So they can get all sorts of players that are willing to play for these based upon their reputation with where they was formerly from. So we'll see how it works out. All right, Lions fans, I salute.